Hey guys, today the next base, kind of in line with the voting that you guys did, was the Soap Commander. This is, of course, their vegan edition. They've pretty much been doing vegan soaps only for quite a while. Now, I haven't checked in within the last year or so with their website, and so because this soap is a few years old, but Passion, and we're looking at teakwood and cardamom. So I don't really what they're offering more these days, if they have changed their formulations or anything like that. But it's a good vegan soap, and we're going to work it with this Paladin brush we used recently, Kanorado, and Indigo Kanorado is the color or model or whatever, and it's the PK-47 is the handle shape, I think is what they mean. We're going to be putting a Perma-Sharp stainless, and this is from that gold and red package that says super on it, but from my research, the super and the stainless are the same thing. If you have information otherwise, then I'd love to see that reference. We'll take this out, and as you can see, it says Perma-Sharp stainless. Now these are different from the Gillette 7 o'clock Perma-Sharps. There's one of, I think it's a green package that's it's called Perma-Sharp, and so these are slightly different. This is a brand new one, and so with the pearl Flexi. So now what have we got? We've got this is totally inadvertent, but we have Perma-Sharp going in a pearl, and we are going to be using a Paladin to whip up the lather from Passion. So this is the quadruple P shave, and it just kind of worked out that way. Now I had a really nice shave from the 2 setting yesterday. Why don't I just keep going with that? I've got a day and a half worth of growth, maybe a touch more than that. So I think the 2 is going to be just fine. It's really mild but efficient anyway. I find it very comfortable, very smooth with some other blades that I've used, but also doing a great job of clearing away the stubble. So I'm pretty confident that it's going to do it without a problem. I did soak the Paladin brush for about 25 minutes or so. Kind of see a little bit of gel on the tips there. We'll get him down in the water again, just to get him ready right before we load up on the soap. I'm going to get my face wet here in a second. So many of the scents from Soap Commander. Good company, run by a lady and her kids, and it's a good vegan product, and I like a lot of the concepts behind what they're doing. I wasn't able to really find a ton of scents that really spoke to me, and there are some like Fortitude and some other ones that were scents that I would enjoy, but they were they were just hints of the scent as I was using it in the shave. Now, of course, the post-shave product is going to be stronger in scent, but I want something to happen during the shave as well. Now, Passion is the one exception with the Soap Commander scents. I find it medium in strength and very able to enjoy it during the shave. So I'm glad at least one of their scents that was in that subset that I would probably like was further in the subset of strong enough for me. So I'm glad to have that. And it is a kind of beefy container. It's kind of double walled. You can see how it's kind of got a little bit of thickness there. And it is a 6-ounce container here too. It's narrower than some of the other ones, and so you don't have quite as much room to work your brush as like the Stirling or the wider Barrister and Man type containers, but it'll be okay. Get my face wet now. So this is my second use of the Paladin brush. I got this one in. My second use in a normal lather. The first time I used it, I was kind of recreating the popular YouTube overloading philosophy, apply on really dry, even shave with a drier lather, at least in perspective of my usual lather, and just to see if there was something I was missing. And no, in general, there wasn't really anything I was missing. And there's nothing wrong with what those other guys are doing. It would be wrong if I were to do that, because that's just not my priorities. But it works for them, and that's just fine, right? And that's okay. All right. So this, I haven't used this guy in maybe 2 years. He's shrunk a little bit, so he's lost a little bit of water. Because of that, why don't we do a 45-second load? Let's see, 35 is rolling around right there. I'm going to keep an eye on it. And if it looks really dry or something, then I might add a little bit of water on top just to help the brush to kind of activate on the soap and pull the soap up into the brush. So if we started at 35, that means 25 seconds left until the next minute. And so 20 seconds after the next minute rolls around. There we go. So 20 more seconds. It's foaming up just a little bit. Now it's starting to really pick it up. 7 more. Moderate pressure. 45-second load. Sometimes that is plenty of lather. Sometimes even that much is too much. But it all depends on the soap base, right? So the looks are okay to go by if you judge, your loading by the looks, as long as you, generally speaking, as long as you're consistent, as long as you keep using the same soap base, as long as you always kind of shake out roughly the same amount of water. See, because the amount of water in your brush will change how much soap you're able to pull up out of your lather. If you come in to it with a dry brush versus a really wet one, I've definitely had times where a really wet brush kind of worked against me. Maybe it almost acted as a barrier to add some slickness on top of the soap, and so the brush wasn't able to get down in there. Now, of course, I'm known for loving really soft brushes, comfy brushes, and so it could be that if you have a synthetic or a brush with a lot of backbone, then you never have a problem. Even if you put tons of water on the soap, you never have a problem loading enough soap. But I'm just saying, even with my softer brushes, you just haven't run into really a problem. You just have to sometimes not have too much water on there. Now, not a lot of soap leather is just immediately forming. That's okay. It's a good soap base. It's not a great soap base, from what I recall. It's not one of those vegan soaps that's so good that you often compare it with even some tallow soaps. But it's nice and it gets the job done well. In this case, I really like the scent. My nose is on its way back from COVID. Maybe I'm smelling at about 70% now. Thanks to shaving, thanks to this hobby and all the scents involved, losing my sense of smell might have been totally different. Before this, my sense of smell was just, I guess, food. Sure, you've got deodorant you put on. I wasn't really a big cologne wearer before. I had some, but I wouldn't really wear it a lot. But thanks to me kind of doing this channel and analyzing scents, I've been able to kind of more accurately track how my nose has progressed, because I remember how certain things smelled and what strength they were. Now, that was a lot of water I added just now. Some of you astute viewers may have noticed that. And I don't mind that, because I'm kind of looking at a quantity of soap that I might want to increase anyway, and so I might just have to go back to the tub. It did sit for a good while, so I'm not surprised if I have to add a little bit more time to it. I'm going to, at least once, I like to get down to a well-soaked brush and kind of push it down kind of deep so that I get access to the water that's at the root of the brush. Make sure it's combined with the soap so it doesn't flush out water during the course of the shave. Now, if you like to shave dry, then you may want to, that could be a strategy, right? If you have a drier lather that you sometimes like to or have to add water to during the shave, what if you didn't quite splay very much and preserved maybe a little bit of water in the root of your brush? I know there's some borers that can do that well. Maybe that's a tool, a feature that you would consider to be a positive thing, to have that water on hand later. Now, this is looking tremendous. And so I think it's either perfect or it could be a little overwatered. Let's just kind of feel of it. Yeah, that doesn't have a whole lot of slickness to it. I think I've pushed too much water into it, and that's kind of normal for some vegan bases. You have to run them a little drier. But that's kind of intentional because I thought I was going to go ahead and, like I said, add some more soap to the mix anyway. So I will go back for, since this is being a little resistant, let's do like, I'm going to put a dribble of water on it here. Otherwise the soap pickup may not be that great. Let's do five seconds. There we go. Now, in retrospect, if you are working with your lather, it is easier to get the water right and add it in more slowly and kind of watch things than it is to bring in more soap later. Because if you bring in more soap, you really kind of have to work it for a little while to get the soap to combine. So in a perfect world where you can see the future, it's better just not to add too much water. But I really thought I was going to go back to the tub anyway, so I didn't mind adding. Matter of fact, that would tell me something about, sometimes I do that on purpose, like today, adding more water to it than and where I think it's probably going to lose some slickness. Then I kind of learn. I push it too far, and then when I add a little bit of soap, it brings it back to the right point. Because sometimes you push that much water into a soap, and the soap is fine. And it says, yeah, I can take that. You want to give me some more? I can still be slick and creamy with that much water. No problem. Well, this soap's not quite there. And we have definitely thickened it up here. I mean, isn't that gorgeous? Just kind of rake it down and see, it's definitely got more body and firmness, structure than some of my lathers. See how it's all holding on in big clumps? We've got peaks going on, but that's okay because this soap is just one of those that needs to be run a little drier. I'm just gonna stir it for just another little bit, just to kind of keep up with consistency and make sure that everything's evenly distributed. Get my face wet. So this is a brand new Perma-Sharp blade. I have another one that I used about 13 times or so, and we'll let that one be my one that I don't throw away, that I see how many uses I can get out of, and so then it's time to start another one that will stay young and get thrown away at about 10 or 12 uses. That way it's fair when I test the Perma-Sharp in a razor across my different razors, then I don't use that excuse, well, it's got 30 shaves in it, and so it's not going to perform quite as good as one you might have. Now this one, this lather is definitely not thick. You can definitely see the translucency, but you can feel, I've got the oils in my skin that it's kind of combating with as well. But this stuff that I'm rolling off my brush, that looks really good, right? So one thing we can do, just a couple of swigs there on the soap can take and kind of compensate for battling the skin oils on this first pass. I didn't take a shower beforehand, and I didn't do a face wash. I usually don't. I enjoy letting the shaving soap be my face wash on that first pass. This brush continues to have a good bit of that core backbone, but the tips are quite soft, and it's a good effect. The tips and the flex at the end of the tips is making it be a enjoyable brush. Has a little bit of scrub due to all that backbone, but I don't think that it's one that I would have to have a caveat in place of, don't use it if you're using an aggressive razor that kind of leaves you a little bit raw. Avoid this brush in that case. I don't think I need to say that. Yeah, see, just those extra few strokes in the soap transformed this first pass here. And counteracted the oils nicely. So this is going to be nice and slick. And yeah, if I was stuck somewhere and I was stranded with a truckload of Soap Commander soaps, I definitely wouldn't have a problem because the lathers are nice. It's just when you start comparing it with others out there that it starts to maybe take a back seat to a lot. And of course, if you're a vegan, if you like vegan soaps, then it should be on your list to try. And they do have pretty nice samples. Last time I checked a couple years ago, they were samples that would give you maybe 2 weeks worth of shaves. They were pretty decent. Ooh, that's easy cutting. Very comfortable and smooth. And this is a day and a half of growth. And this is a 2. You guys that think you need to bump up your aggression to something high when you are shaving off multiple days, you may want to try it sometime. Not doing that. See if it works for you. This is a 2. This is very smooth. And it just took that down really well. Oh, good smell. Great one for the fall and winter, of course, with it being a very woody, kind of spicy type scent. I don't know why they named it Passion. Passion kind of is linked to romance. I don't really think of these kind of notes as in that genre. So that's a little bit of a mystery. They do have other scents like love and ambition, things like that. Vision, integrity. Yeah, this brush feels nice. It's one that I definitely want to soak for 15 minutes before each shave, if at all possible, for best results, for that softness that I like. But the performance is, like I said, enjoyable. The brush is feeling great on my face. The lather's working well with it. I have a nice slickness here. And that's really all you want, all you really need. So if I was stuck somewhere with Soap Commander's inventory of soaps as my only shaving soap, sure, some soaps wouldn't give me a lot of scent, but that's a little variation. And then, because you wouldn't want to use the strongest ones all the time. man, this is just a great shave here. So I think going back and adding that soap was very wise, and then going back a second time and adding just a little bit more for that first pass was a good choice as well. And so I don't feel like I'm skimping on comfort. Just kind of splash my face a little bit with water. And sure, the rinses aren't really revealing a creamy feeling soap. And so if you look at that, it's still got quite a bit of body to it. And so you may want to take this one even drier if you like that creamy feel. But otherwise, I am really enjoying the slickness on this one. Just the right amount of hydration for me. Third pass now, and I mean, really, not a lot of hair left. And I'll bet this Perma-Sharp stainless here gets even nicer on the next shave as we kind of wear away coatings or burrs or, you know, whatever it is that so often causes us issues with the first use of a blade, and so often they are just much more friendly in subsequent uses. Who would have thought that I would stick around with a 2 setting on such a smooth razor? I enjoyed the 3 and the 4. And I'd probably shave with them just fine. Unlike the Rockwell, where you start to get, I don't mind shaving with a 3. That's a good all around. With efficiency, it's not quite as smooth as this guy. But then with the 4 and the 5, I start getting into that blade feel area. And I feel that the 3 and the 2 even shave me close enough that why bother with the extra blade feel on the 4 and the 5, right? But with this one, I can play around. The range is more comfortable. Instead of wanting to stay away from the 5, for instance, I could shave with a 5 more comfortably here if I wanted to. So that third pass, man, it's just a breeze. Very nice. Face feels very smooth, you know, in terms of a nice close cut. Yeah, very good. Very good. Even down here, my trouble spot, I didn't really have to do too much extra effort to get that area. If I would have not added quite as much water, I think I would have ended up in a good place regarding being a miser about soap. You can see we've got 2 passes, maybe even 3 here left over, but big deal. In this case, I don't really think I used up too much product. And it looks great, doesn't it? Has a little bit of a sheen to it. And so with this base, it looks like for me, I would need to run it a little on the dry side. And then that's where it behaves the best, where it feels great on the face with the brush, where it's still quite slick. So worked out really well. Light gel on these tips. We can let's kind of feel the lather now that we've, oh yeah, see, there's that slickness. See, that wasn't there before when it was too thin. So we had to add some soap back in, and there we go. That is, I think that's as hydrated as this guy will get, while still maintaining a nice level of slickness. And so I think most people in general would take it drier than this, because that's just the way statistics seem to go. I don't think too many people would keep it wetter like when that first stuff I felt. I don't think too many people like it that way, because I think that's where the soap is stopping with its lubricative properties. It's just got too much. It looks nice. I've had so many soaps do that, where they look nice and they're all elastic and stuff, but then when you feel them, they've just kind of they're not cohesive as much anymore. Those soap particles, if I can pretend like they're soap particles in there, in the lather, like stretched between water. Maybe they're too far apart. Maybe they're just barely touching, and so they don't have that slickness. And so by adding a little bit more soap, I was able to bring them back together where they can hold together like that, and now you've got your slickness back. So yeah, there we go. Very enjoyable shave. Soap Commander represents a nice vegan soap that does all the things you need. If you like it hydrated like I do, then you may not really get a super creamy feel, that sort of thing. But it's and they've been around. This is the soap base for a few years now, and so it's not like this is some new soap base. I think Southern Witchcrafts probably has a better vegan soap base. Katie's Bubbles. That would be an interesting one. I wonder if they would kind of tie with this one. Katie's Bubbles might be a little better than this one, another vegan soap. This definitely beats the vegan formula of a few years ago of Henri and Victoria. I did some runs on that several months ago. So there we go, Soap Commander. And this has been Passion with cardamom and teakwood. And it's going to last forever because if I use it every 2 years, right? And I've got 6 ounces of it. I bought it used, and there we go. Now, how much water did we end up using today? A good bit, 20 milliliters. All right. So you know what? What about next time? Next time I use this soap, what if I took 15 milliliters of water and put that in the bowl, and then I just like slowly added more soap to my brush until that came up to be the right amount of lather. Potentially use the water as the decider instead of the soap being the decider, loading X amount of seconds or whatever, and then adding water until it's right. What if you started out with a certain amount of water and then you added soap till it was right? I don't know. That might be a valid way to do things. We'll see what I feel like doing next time. All right, guys. Good shave. Yeah, face feels good. The post-shave feel is very nice. I don't have any kind of negatives going on, like a drying feeling or an itchy feeling or any of that. It feels like my skin was taken care of. And with this woody scent that is still roaming around this area, and so I like that it's definitely been a part of the shave. I am going to add Mountain Man, which is not as mountainy as you would think. It's Creed Silver Mountain water, and it's kind of got some zest to it, not a whole lot of woodiness. So I guess they're thinking of silver water. There's more silver water in this than there is mountain, perhaps. Or maybe they're alluding to, crystal clear mountain water, that kind of thing. So I think that I wouldn't be surprised if the notes, the teakwood and cardamom notes, would really jump in and help out this type of scent. They might smell really good together, actually. That might really propel the Mountain Man here into a top favorite of mine. For a while there, Soap Commander, it does bear mentioning, was the name that people recommended when somebody was hunting for a good balm, a good restorative, hydrating, kind to your skin balm. Soap Commander was definitely always mentioned, and for good reason. Now, I tried their balm in the beginning, but it had a level of menthol. Apparently, I just don't enjoy a lot of menthol at all. It's just got to be a tiny amount for me to be okay with it. And a lot of people do not have a problem with the Soap Commander level of menthol at all in the balms. But it did prevent me from getting too many of their balms at all. I did have one that was a limited run that was leather and vetiver or something like that. I think it was called Drive. And I'm still keeping that one around because I do love this scent. But all the rest of them I had to sell. I did keep one because it was unscented, and even their unscented comes in menthol and not menthol. So I bought the not menthol version just to have that performance level of hydration available. And so just to let you know, if you want to check out their products, feel free. And their balms, unlike a lot of other vendors, most other vendors don't put menthol in their balms, but they do at Soap Commander, at least last time I checked. All right, the brush looks great. These are, you know, gel tips, and so they are going to be a little whiter, a little thicker as they are wet right now. And sure enough, you know, like I was telling you, before today's shave, before I soaked the brush, these were crispy and firm. It wasn't an enjoyable experience to play with this brush, but for the next maybe 12 hours it will be, as it hasn't dried yet. But that's just the way the gel tips kind of work. All right, so the brush did very well. The thinner lather that I was painting on at the very beginning, this brush didn't. It felt more firm. But as I added a little bit more lubrication there at the end of that first pass, it became a lather that I enjoyed working with the brush. And so the brush definitely likes the creamier lather. I think what it does is it gets in there and allows the bristles to move a little easier and to get out of the way and be more compliant. And so then that results in an experience that's softer and more comfortable. I'm continuing to enjoy greatly the Pearl Flexi. This is the version 7. Don't have any complaints about it at all. Just great. The grip is tremendous. It is a heavy razor. That's the only thing, but I don't mind it, especially during the shave. It feels heavy right now when I'm showing it to you, but in the shave, I don't really notice it. But everything else is working great. I continue to place blades in it without thinking about it too much, and they all stay lined up, so it looks like they fixed that problem. I don't see any gap issues, that sort of thing. So I'm a very happy camper continually now with that razor. You know, in light of the recent change in me, where I'm starting to think about having balms around only as kind of base note additions, where I don't have too many balms, because see, they go bad quicker than splashes. Splashes are alcohol based most of the time, and man, they'll last a long time, right? But balms, I'm trying to use up some of my balms because they don't last years and years like the splashes do. But I tell you, one that I'd really consider is if Soap Commander had one in this scent that wasn't menthol. I think this would be a wonderful addition to so many. It would be this supporting cast, this add a woody, spicy, slightly spicy, a warm, spicy, woody, warm, spicy type footnote to whatever, a whole bunch of scents of shaving soap would match so well with this if it were a balm, you know. And so that would be really cool. I'm enjoying my Agar, which is oud from Stirling, as kind of that base note splash that works so well with a bunch of different scents. And I really think that teakwood and cardamom could have that same role. The Perma-Sharp blade today, the Perma-Sharp stainless, was tremendous. Worked very, very well with the Pearl Flexi at setting 2. I got a feeling it would be fine about anywhere. I could probably take it to a 3, no problem. I didn't feel any kind of razor burn, any kind of irritation, any kind of extra spot where maybe it cut a little too close, you know, that sort of thing. And so with such a nice close shave that I got, I also feel like it's kind of flexible. I don't have to always be on my guard about technique and skin tightening and things like that to make it perform. I felt like it performed really well regardless. And so that's an extra special thing too. I guess I meant to say extra positive. It's a bonus. I didn't use these Perma-Sharp stainless blades for quite a long time. I think I just focused on others, and there are just so many out there that do a great job. That this was a little hidden gem that was out there that was available, and I didn't come across it yet. I think I had actually a box of these, but just kind of it was sitting in the back, kind of unused, and maybe the first time I tried it, maybe I put it in an aggressive razor, and so it didn't jump out at me as a good blade. But it's turning out to really be a blade that I enjoy in a bunch of different razors now. And that's it, my friends. I hope there's been something in this shave to help you out with your own shaving journey. You guys take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Good night.